Surviving Sister Wives contains adult content that may not be suitable for Latter-day Saints or sinners. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome to Surviving Sister Wives.
I'm Corey.
And I'm Carly, and we are here to recap an episode that you've already seen and already heard us recap. This is Season 19, Episode 17? Did I get that right?
Episode 17.
Also known as Season 18.
Bonus.
Final episode? Bonus
extras,
episode?
Depending on where you're looking on the Max app. Tucked away, hidden away.
But this one is called Love is Patient. Love is Kind.
I'm going to need to request some patience and some kindness, I think, this week. This is a rough go. I'm not going to lie to you.
It's a weird kind of inception to be in a scenario where we're talking about footage that we've already recapped, but we're going to give it a try.
If you're looking for our original thoughts on the matter of Christine and David's special wedding day, part 2, that was episode 217. So that was season 18, episode 20.
I almost said 20 before.
Yeah, it just feels like a 20 episode. We're going to kind of be glossing over that. So if you really want our in-depth thoughts on that, we've already recapped a lot of that footage. My opinions haven't really changed in a year.
It's almost exactly a year, isn't it?
Yes. No new information has been gathered. I did feel more uncomfortable with the lap dancing at the reception this time around, but mostly for the first part of it, though, where it was David's friend, Jared.
Oh,
that was still extra weird for me.
You've become more accustomed to seeing Christine in her element now.
Christine gyrating on David is just burned forever into my memory. So that's just something that I get to carry with me every single day. There's no avoiding that.
What is the description for this episode, please?
The TLC description is, the day is finally here that Christine is getting married. It's a joyful event on the banks of the Colorado River as Christine and David say, I do. Cody discusses missing out on the Brown family celebration and has a scary close call while cutting down a tree.
Didn't even mention Meri.
I forgot that we had Meri in this episode, too.
Yeah, she's setting up her fun house of sorts. I don't know.
I don't think it's a fun house.
It's a house of horrors.
Oh, boy. She's feeling witchy. She's no longer a lady of the woods.
She's feeling a couple of things.
I guess Robyn's the lady of the woods this episode instead. She's traded in her plot of trees so that Cody can just chop them down.
Ready for my rewrite? I'm actually excited about this.
Is it the same one?
No,
Okay,
I changed it. No, I wouldn't do that to you all.
I was going to say, was it the same one from episode 217?
This isn't TLC over here.
No.
A TLC production.
Original content only.
Puddle Monkey forgets to apply the sepia tone filter to David and... Puddle Monkey forgets to apply the sepia tone filter to Christine and...
I'm going to keep all these.
Puddle Monkey forgets to apply the sepia tone filter to Christine and David's wedding footage. Kody and Robyn continue filming Jackass Coyote Pass.
You ever shot a bottle rocket out of your asshole?
I'm just waiting for Steve-O to show up. He's going to have it at some point.
I'm Cody Brown. Welcome to Jackass.
I'm not sure. Are they trying to get hurt while filming? Do they have some kind of new contract stipulation?
MTV's taking over for broadcast rights now. It's going to be on Paramount next season.
Don't say that because some AI gossip rag somewhere is going to pick that up and run with it. Well, we started that rumor.
The Sun News.
And soon no one is going to be able to contradict it because... I don't know. We might not have TikTok come next week.
Oh, boy. Yeah, the clock's ticking and talking on that one.
Which, speaking of, you should go over and follow us on YouTube. It's the same handle.
Surviving Pod. Truth be told, we created a Blue Sky account just in case. But that was mostly to replace the hole in our lives from X.
The platform previously known as Twitter.
Maybe that'll be a thing, I guess, potentially. We'll have to see. We're going to see how it plays out.
We're going to find out what's going to happen. They're really waiting until the last second to tell us what this decision's going to be.
We already got flagged as a spam account on Blue Sky, so I'm not sure how I feel about it.
Things are going great this week.
Mixed reviews on social media.
Should we just do some announcements?
Yeah, we'll just knock them out. There's nothing else to talk about.
These are going to be fun current events, so please don't skip them. This may be the only interesting part of the episode.
No guarantees. Yeah.
Well, someone else who's having a very rough week, Jamie.
Oh, Jamie.
Jamie, who was previously the co-host of the Authentic Society, but is now the sole host of the Authentic Society podcast.
What a time to take over.
The Maddie's out.
I felt bad when I saw, the post. What was that on Instagram? We saw the video. It was a very desperate plea for people to still continue to listen.
Jamie's video
was very sad. Yeah, because I think Maddie just had a blank text post.
It was very Cody divorce style.
We've decided to make this public announcement. We have decided to end the podcast. But just for Maddie, because Jamie's continuing on.
We knew it was coming when they took a 2-week break for the holidays.
That is the death knell for any podcast that has been less than 10.
Did you just say that like Whitney Rose?
The death knell?
Nell?
Death knell.
What's that? I thought you were saying nail.
No, that's not a nail in a coffin. A death knell is a Knell. That's a totally different thing. I'm going to be completely honest with you, though. Probably 85% of my vocabulary comes from Magic the Gathering. So I don't really know.
Can you not give me a definition?
Yeah, I'm not like Heather where I'm able to just come up with a explanation of the definition off the top of my head. But I think a death knell, from my experience with death knells, isn't it like a creature?
Why are you asking me?
Yeah, I think it's
I'm the one who didn't even know what you said.
All right, well, we're going to Google it. So a knell, it's a literary noun. It's the sound of a bell, especially when rung solemnly for a death or a funeral.
Well, that makes more sense.
So it's a specific sound. It's a bell sound. See, for Magic the Gathering, it's a creature. There's a death knell.
Okay.
Different.
Long story short, Maddie's not going to be doing the podcast anymore.
Yeah, I think that was the point.
After 6 episodes.
I think that was what we were trying to get to. But to be fair, 90% of podcasts don't make it past episode 10.
It's true. That's a true fact.
That's just the way it is. Facts of life.
The other big thing that happened this week, Cody reemerged on X. He's had that profile. He's been there. He hasn't deleted it. He just hasn't been using it, much like not posting on Instagram. But
he doesn't know that users have left the platform en masse. He is not up to date on current social media standings right now.
So he decided to share with us what appears to be some sort of AI-generated image of a Viking or something hugging a small child.
You know what it looked like? It looked like weird fan art for Horizon Zero Dawn, which is a PlayStation game. Kind of like that.
It probably was, and somebody stole it.
Yeah, like God of War mixed with Horizon Zero Dawn. So I think he's a big PlayStation fan, or maybe just the AI bot that generated that image.
This came from YouTube, apparently. YouTube. Warrior fathers are good fathers.
YouTube is making AI generated images now?
I'm not clicking the link.
Yeah, I don't
I don't want to know.
It. He's quoting, who is it?
I don't know that
His
it's a
favorite
quote.
author?
It's hashtagged Jordan Peterson. And hashtag stoic.
Which I thought Christine already shamed him on using the word stoic. So I thought that was interesting choice of words.
At Brothers v Random.
I don't know who he's tagging. I don't know if he knows who he's tagging. But that author, though, that he tagged, had the hashtag for.
Not great.
Had some pretty shit views on a couple of things. But some of them do sound familiar. We've heard them directly from Cody's mouth. From advice, great parenting advice from his cameos, where he's instructed people to don't let your children do things that will make you hate them. Just some good old classic parenting advice that you can go off of.
I know a lot of people expressed hope for him in 2025 on our New Year's Eve special, but
it's not looking good.
No.
It looks like we're off to the same old, pretty much right out the gate.
What else? We just started recapping The Traitors over on Surviving Reality, so you got to pop over there. We have the first 3 episodes of the show recapped.
And we're doing the whole season. So that was a question that some people were trying to clarify. Were we just doing episodes 1 through 3? No, we're doing the whole season week by week as it comes out over on Surviving Reality. So make sure you swing over and subscribe to that. Don't miss the end of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. It's the season finale next week, too.
Okay, both of those shows are so good. First of all, the Lunch with 8 Lisas, very much looking forward to it.
Ready for it. Yeah, we need some good original content.
But I'm not done talking about the traitors. Because
No, me
you
either.
all need to. We're never done talking about the
No.
traitors, by the way. We just started talking about it at breakfast and realized that we could have recorded a whole nother podcast.
I think this is why I'm so tired, is I've been thinking about the traitors nonstop since we recorded it. It's my theories are just going on. This is just what happens when the traitors is on for a season and I have to go week to week and I'm just ruminating on all of my theories for an entire week until the new episode comes out.
Tom Sandoval is detoxing in front of our eyes.
It's happening. It's like that episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia where they quarantine and then they don't realize, you think that they're all sick because they were trying to avoid the flu and they are all getting violently ill, but it turns out they're not getting sick. They're actually just detoxing because they haven't had alcohol. So he kind of is looking like that. I'm waiting for him to sing and sustain a high-pitched note like Dennis. Would a sick person be able to do that? I'm waiting for him to say that at a round table in the next few weeks because he is going to have to defend himself. People are going to try and vote him out soon.
You think so? I think he's going to hang around for a while.
He's not going to make it to the finals. He's not going to make it to Endgame.
No, not if he keeps staring at people the way he's been.
He's making people very uncomfortable, me especially. Top of the list.
You know what else is making people uncomfortable? And I did not notice this when we were watching the show. There is some strange filter that they're using over all of the footage where people's pupils are just like missing. We're going to have to look at people's eyes more.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
There's something strange happening.
Okay, maybe they just don't have an eye light and then that's throwing people off.
You know where I saw that? On TikTok.
Oh, not next week.
See, I'm not going to be in the know anymore
Yeah.
about things I miss when
No
we're
idea.
watching things.
We're just going to have to come up with our own wild theories again.
In the last little update, if you are over on the Patreon, know that we know that there appears to be some type of issue going on with the RSS feed.
Hopefully it's resolved by the time this episode drops, but
The most recent episode may not have showed up in the podcast player that you like to listen in. It is on Patreon. If you go to Patreon
Yes.
and listen either in the app or on the desktop, which I know most people don't like to do because
Yeah.
it's a fucking atrocious app.
well, it's a terrible app. But so yeah, the feed is up to date on Patreon website and the Patreon app. If you're using a third-party podcast player like Overcast or Apple Podcasts that you have the Patreon RSS feed going into, it seems like there's an issue with it syncing up with third-party apps right now. So hopefully that gets sorted soon. We have an email out to Patreon to follow up on it, but we haven't heard anything back. So we will stay tuned and keep you posted as we find out as well.
All right, I really don't want to get started, but let's get started. Christine's getting married. Did you know?
Yeah, I know. I've heard. You know, I saw a wedding invitation at someone's house, but I didn't receive one personally, so I'm a little offended.
I'm offended that we didn't get to see the footage of Robyn first hearing that Christine was getting married.
Oh, that would have been so good. You have to have Cody break that news to her, but then it would be really hard. They would have to have the nanny come over to watch Saul and Ari, and probably Aurora and Brianna as well.
So they could sneak away and have
Yeah.
this conversation on the side of Coyote Pass.
It's an adult conversation. Yeah, it's not suitable for children's ears to hear that they're being excluded from the rest of their family.
Robyn can't even hide anymore that she really despises Christine. Do you feel it every time she has to address anything that has to do with her?
There's a lot of disdain, and I think it's because Christine is the safe one to use as the scapegoat now, is the ex-wife who ruined everything. She's the one who broke the family apart and caused all of these issues.
Of course we're not invited. We're the outcasts.
We've been voted off the Brown family island.
First of all, I would point to Exhibit A as to why you're not invited is because your husband is her ex-husband. There's not a lot of people who invite their ex-husband to their next wedding.
It's a good reason. Yeah, that's a good line of reasoning for it.
But instead it has to be that we're being exiled from the family because nobody likes us.
It's bigger than that. Yeah. It's not just the fact that Cody and Christine don't get along and are no longer married. It's that Christine has a deep resentment for Robyn and her children specifically. And that is why they can't be in close proximity anymore.
What do you think about Christine not inviting any of Robyn's kids? Because Cody made the point that he's sure all the rest of the kids are going to be there except for his kids with Robyn. And some of her kids are adults. So
Well-
in my opinion, you can invite somebody to a wedding without their parent if they're an adult.
I don't know if you can invite Robyn's kids
That's
to a
true.
wedding.
They're not really. I don't know.
They
we're,
can only-
we're legally adults.
Yeah, you can
but-
only participate as +1s, +2s, however many.
Oh, you can't give them a +1 because Robyn would have come.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, she would have cashed in on that. No, I'm saying that, yeah, they can't even
They have to
qualify.
be someone else's +1.
They have to be accompanied. Yeah, they cannot receive their own invite. Those won't work. That's not going to be valid. I feel like Janelle in this episode, when Janelle is so visibly uncomfortable while they're getting ready the wedding day, and she just has to keep telling Christine, this is a lot of fun.
I'm having a lot of fun.
This is fun. What we're doing right now, this is fun. I'm really enjoying this.
Just trying to talk herself into it.
I need to convince myself, and I need to hear it a few more times just to remember why I'm here. I'm here so I don't get fined, and this is a lot of fun.
I think someone slipped a little whiskey into her morning coffee.
I'm having a good time.
She's not sure why.
There's going to
but
be
she
a
is.
whole lot of work.
We haven't gotten to that yet,
Not
have
yet.
we?
No, because I have a TikTok. Oh no, I might not be able to make it.
Oh my God,
I
it's a TikTok that will never see the light of day.
No, it'll go on YouTube Shorts then. A distant second to TikTok.
There's going to be no plig braids, just regular braids, teeny tiny braids.
Maddie might be getting cornrows. I don't know. If we have time. I feel like they should have started sooner then. They should have started earlier.
It does take a long time.
A very long time. Do you think that Cody would have been able to outdance David at the reception? Because, of course, Cody's biggest wound is that he's not going to be able to be a part of the Brown family mosh pit, which trademark, wordmark, hashtag, he started.
Okay, second worst thing that happened this episode is that Cody did not participate in the lap dance off that happened.
I guarantee you that if Cody had been in participation at the reception, he would have jumped in as the third to provide a lap dance for David.
Oh, there's
He would
no doubt.
He would try to upstage Christine at that point because Christine had to upstage
The friend.
David's friend.
Mhm.
I think it was Jared.
Cody would have just pulled her off of David.
And Cody would have been right in there after Christine to really show her up.
I feel like he would have made some really strange comments too about her lap dance abilities.
That, and then, yeah, he would have insulted her.
Oh, I feel
And
like he would have
then-
made like a weird sexual comment.
Oh.
So just we remember that they used to bang.
Oh, right. Yeah. Well, and also it would cut too, because it wouldn't be to build her up or to make her feel good.
Oh,
It would
no.
be how she is lacking in some way, shape, or form in terms of the ability to stimulate David properly. So he needs to get in there and finish this job. But I feel like he would escalate it by, he would start removing articles of clothing. He would turn it into like strip tease. So he would probably have a jacket that he would peel off.
He would get very carried away with himself.
He'd be sweating through his shirt. He'd be
Oh,
a very Tom
yeah.
Sandoval moment. I'd be worried.
Thank God they saved us from that.
I kind of wish we saw it.
Yeah.
Just to see.
I'm a little conflicted.
Yeah, I'm torn. Because now that I'm imagining it, not as bad as seeing Christine grind up on David in front of everyone.
I think Tony was really disappointed that they weren't drinking yet in David's cabin.
Yeah, I think this was a way for him to casually bring up, hey, I'm pretty sure that the ladies have been drinking mimosas all day. And what is this, a dry cabin? What do we have going on over here? I'm going to need some shots to get this party started.
There's too many people too. I need more
Definitely.
drinks if there's going to be that many new people I've never met before.
I need to have a better excuse of why I'm not remembering your name. Because I'm not going to remember. And it's not anything personal. It's just, I would like to have an excuse that I've got a drink or two in me and it's been a long day.
I don't remember seeing Peyton show up with a razor in hand in the parking lot.
No, this is new footage. This was the stuff that they were like, oh, great, we're able to include this. Finally, it can see the light of day. Because there was, I think, a deeper conversation that was taking place as part of the wedding special inside. I don't even know what it was. It was Tony was grilling with questions. He was asking a bunch of stuff. So this
So they
Peyton
traded
stuff,
out the Tony footage
Yes.
for Peyton footage.
Exactly.
They know what the audience wants.
Yes. pick your poison. And yeah, people were complaining about the Tony footage, I guess. So they said, be careful what you wish for, because here's what else we have. This is all we have.
I feel like shaving is a thing you should make time for.
On a wedding day, yes, it's very important. But luckily, Mitch to the rescue. He just happens to have a straight razor on him at all times, probably.
Dino Dave is confused about why someone's walking around with that.
If you have like a shaving kit because you're traveling.
Well, he is attending a wedding, number one.
He came prepared.
Two, he's Scottish. There's a lot of hair to control.
There is a lot of hair. And if I had to have anybody give me a dry shave with a straight razor on this day at this time, Mitch is the only person I would trust to do this.
Peyton agrees.
Yeah, nobody else.
We go from that right over to the Sheetraw Chateau.
Well, we have like the essence of manliness, dry shaves, straight razors, bachelor stuff.
Perfect intro for Cody to show up.
We're going into hyper masculinity mode.
We're going to cut down a tree.
Cody's chopping trees. He's lumberjacking. He's lumberjacking it up.
Although I guess Robyn's putting parameters on that now, because we've seen him cut many a tree down and then they just kind of lay there and don't go anywhere. So she's going to let him cut this one down so that they have a better view from their top deck. But he's going to have to actually remove it.
The better view of the mountain, too, because we have to get a better view. We were supposed to be out on Coyote Pass at this point. We should have built all of our houses, and we should have a clear view, unobstructed views of the mountain. So the least you can give me is a clear, unobstructed view from our deck on our $1 million home.
Why is Robyn wearing a scrunchie? You didn't clock it. I know you didn't.
No, I wasn't keeping an eye out for that.
That's just a me personal thing.
I always get distracted by Cody's visor.
Yeah.
And then he had his wood chopping gloves, which are different than his moving gloves. But he had to take those off because he had to make a pinky promise to Robyn. That's how serious this is. He had to pinky promise that he wasn't going to cut down any additional trees except for the one that has been designated to be chopped down. And then he has to clear that one out. But Robyn needs skin-to-skin contact for a good pinky promise. Otherwise, it doesn't count, I guess. Unobstructed views, unobstructed pinky promises.
The way I cackled when Cody tried to run up the side of was this just the property?
This is, the house.
What is happening? Why?
It
was very Twilight.
He's looking for his tools, I think. Is that what's going on? He was grabbing his ladder, so then that way he can get set up and get prepared for the task at hand here.
Just the ladder or the whips and the chains?
A couple of things. Yeah, he was grabbing the necessary items that he was required for this task.
Robyn's got a pair of gloves too. She's not actually doing anything. She's just supervising, but she needs a pair of moving gloves as well.
A Spartan Arms hoodie and some hand-me-down moving gloves.
If I grasped what he was explaining, he's going to throw a chain around the trunk of the tree and then connect it to a nearby tree so that they can pull it down in that general direction when it starts to tip over?
I'm going to do the classic podcaster thing where I have zero experience as a lumberjack.
You're going to armchair this
one?
one?
I've never cut down a tree ever, but I could tell there are a few things probably that he could have done better. I know there's just general chainsaw etiquette that was not followed very well throughout the episode here.
Etiquette or safety precautions, just general safety. I think a lot of people go to the ER every year, I believe this is a true fact, from being on a ladder with a chainsaw. He didn't do that. This was unique.
He was going for his own blend because, he has an element of chaos, but chaos is kind of his brand. That's what he's been doing his whole life, and it's always just sort of worked out, just like how he's had 3 wives leave him in the last couple years. It just kind of works out.
A success story in the end.
We got to monogamy. It was a long way around that we took, though.
This is a big tree. All I can think is how many years it's been here. And that makes me sad.
Cody's talking about he's cut down thousands of trees in his life. Why? What? Doing what? This is what you're doing as essential tree removal? The tree's not dead. The tree's not infested with anything. It's not a danger to anything on the property.
It's blocking my view.
So that is enough reason to just go ahead and chop it down and destroy it from existence.
Well, it's fighting back. It's trying to stay up here. He starts sawing through it.
After attempting to start the chainsaw in a way I was not prepared to see. I don't think you're supposed to
rip the chain 65 times before it starts.
Well, the pull start. I don't think you're supposed to rapid fire pull start. I think you're supposed to do one good pull to start it, but he just primes it and cranks on that sucker till it gives up. That's just kind of his strategy.
Robyn's familiar. She's seen this before.
Multiple strategies that are playing out here.
He does start to get the tree to dislodge from its place.
Look, it's all physics, but Cody ain't a physicist, and he knows that.
Oh, remember when they built the boats for that competition and they were actually trying to do physics formulas? He's not reliving that.
Just the 6 and the 9 because they line up, right? That's about the extent of Cody's physicism.
I thought he was the one who, was it him or Robyn? One of them was adamant that they knew what they were doing because they took physics.
That sounds like Robyn.
We needed more going on here, more participation from somebody. But instead we just tip the tree over and it nestles itself into 2 nearby trees.
I don't know much about trees, but I know that is super fucking dangerous. That's not how a tree's supposed to be. And now that tree could fall, so now you have to make sure that you dislodge it.
And it wouldn't be the first time, because Robyn tells us, and I don't know, was this disclosed when they sold the She-Ra Chateau?
That's why they had to wait for this episode to air. Please don't air this footage until we sell the house, until we get somebody to close on it.
They rushed to get that thing done before the season started.
Minimal roof damage.
He has dropped a tree on the house before.
Whoopsie doopsie. Wasn't the first time, won't be the last. How many trees do you think he had to clear at the new house?
I hope none. That way we don't have
Hopefully
to
not.
watch this when we get to season 20.
Yeah, it's going to be just more footage, more tree footage.
Like, this is the compelling stuff that they filmed with Kody and Robyn. This is the best of the best.
This is what they had to present with us. Yeah. He chunked out a pretty good wedge out of the bottom there. I feel like this makes sense the way that he's doing it. I don't know if he's doing it on the right side. Okay, how do I want to explain this? This all looks like things that I've seen people cutting down trees do. Does that make sense?
You've watched a lot of people cut trees down?
I've seen people cut trees down.
Okay.
And mostly I've seen when it goes like really well and when it goes really bad. So I think it's more so.
I don't even know what bucket this one falls into.
It took a minute, but yeah. When it's just propped up against the other tree now, this is the most dangerous spot to be in.
He's scared, and he's not exactly sure why. It could be that he went through a divorce. He had COVID. You know, that was all along in his nervous system. And now he's shaken looking at this tree.
Well, also, he recently dropped a tree on the house. So he's afraid that somehow this one's going to turn around, and maybe it's going to end up on the house too. This one's not even close, but he's just having flashbacks.
Why would that not be scary? It's a very, very, very tall, very heavy tree that is now out of control.
If you've cut trees down and they have not fallen at all in the way that you expected them to fall, stop cutting down trees.
Just pay someone.
Please?
If it's that important and you don't need this tree anymore or want it or whatever your reasoning is, then you should probably pay someone when you have a bad record.
Because my next guess was, I'm sure he did all the things that he was supposed to do to properly treat the stump and do the stump removal and everything that was required for that. I'm sure he hasn't done jack shit of that.
He likes to leave the stump behind.
It's all he has are stumps. The scariest part for me, the scariest thing that I've seen this season was when Cody embedded the chainsaw in the trunk of the tree while he's trying to now carve off little bits of the tree so it continues to fall. And the chainsaw is just wedged into the trunk.
Trying to give it a fresh cut.
I guess.
It's a Christmas tree.
But man, oh man.
No, it was still running. And then he's taking an axe and trying to, I guess, create a little bit more room in the stump of the tree.
There was a wedge that was being applied, and then he was hitting that with a sledgehammer to then separate it. But what gets me about the chainsaw, I will admit, again, I do not have a lot of personal experience with chainsaws. But I don't
think you're supposed to leave one running like that.
Well, here's the thing. You're supposed to leave it running if you're moving the chainsaw. Like, keep the chain spinning when you are moving it.
Well, he can't do that.
When
it's stuck in the tree.
Well, he moved it, and then he was trying to back it off. He was letting go of the throttle when he was going to back it off from cutting.
You have a lot of criticism for someone who's not so familiar
That's
with
what
these
I said.
tools.
I'm going to be doing the podcasting thing where in theory, I know some of the things that you need to do with a chainsaw and some of the things that you really shouldn't be doing. So what he was doing was he was going full throttle with the chainsaw into the tree, and then he was releasing the throttle and then trying to remove that by backing the chainsaw out. You're supposed to leave the chainsaw running. It runs in a circle, so it will cut in both directions. So you're supposed to full throttle in and then back it up.
Full throttle out.
Full throttle in
and
full
out.
throttle out. That's what they do. Kody and Robyn, full throttle in, full throttle out.
I thought that Robyn would be a lot more anxious during this.
She was.
Not to the level I expected.
Oh, yeah, I
I'm
guess
not sure
that's
she
fair.
really grasped what was going on or how poorly it was truly going.
I think that she trusted a lot of what Kody was doing, and this is why I was so stressed out, because you see how many things he's doing wrong.
At one point, she was bent over, like picking something up off the ground as the chainsaw was stuck in the tree and he was trying to dislodge it.
He's
I was
whacking
scared.
at it with a sledgehammer and a wedge, which then it pops free and goes flying.
It
and
just
comes at
careens
him.
backwards.
So easily we could have been maimed by this chainsaw. It's a miracle that nobody was injured.
It truly is.
I was a little off put when he started describing how he was going to get the chainsaw on this tree very quickly after this to chop it down into tiny little bits. And that's really the hard work. I thought he was talking about his suggestion to Nate that he had made, the Strangers on a Train sort of suggestion.
The hard work is cutting up the body and
It's after the
disposing
murder
of
tarp
it?
date. It's the cleanup that really gets you. You never account for enough time.
back at the bridal suite. Everyone's gathering together, and this is when we got that moment where Maddie starts to break down and never really gets to express what she was trying to say, which maybe was a little subtle foreshadowing for our podcast adventures. But what she had to say later on, where she's talking with Caleb and Hunter to the producer about how they just meshed so well with David and his family. I'd love to be a fly on the wall to see Robyn reacting to that, because that was the big issue that they talked about. Was they told us a long time ago that Robyn and her family meshed with theirs, done, complete, successful story, moving on. And then the story has now changed or evolved to that never really happened. There was never really this mixing of the two. They were always kind of separate.
And that was the insult to Robyn. And that was why she was made to feel as an outcast. And that's why they are outcasts now.
And here is everyone fully accepting David and excited so quickly after he and Christine got together. I feel like there was a lot more that the producers could have dug into there in talking with Robyn.
Yeah, but Robyn knows the PR answers. She's keeping everything. Oh, we are so happy for Christine.
But with the least enthusiasm she could possibly muster to make that sound believable.
But she knows that those are the words that she's required to say right now in order to look like the bigger person.
I'm not sure how I felt about Meri's whole take on finding security in your marriage within yourself.
Well, because the point was that they were talking about how Christine's been married for all these years, but this is her first legal marriage ever with anyone.
Well, and her first monogamous marriage where her husband is only married to her.
A little different. So the experience that she has had, it's led her to this point, but it's going to be different. This is definitely a change of pace for her. So Meri trying to make that comparison of explaining how marriage is about you. It comes from you, your self-confidence. I think partially, but there should be a partnership that's in there too. Like that's kind of the union of two people. And the general concept of marriage is kind of revolving around that as a topic.
Yeah, it seemed very colored by her life experience. And I'm not sure that that was fully the lesson that we were supposed to learn from it.
I don't know if that's the lesson that Meri's learned from it yet.
Maybe that'll change when she meets someone who makes her feel secure in a relationship with them.
Yeah, it's such a foreign idea to her right now. She can't even fathom what that would be like.
I'm not sure what day they caught Kody on when they were trying to get him to give his confessionals and talk about the wedding, but he seemed like very jolly and genuinely over things with Christine.
It must have been more recently. This has to be 2 years out from the divorce, 3 years out, looking at the timeline of things.
There was just such a difference between his affect talking about wishing Christine good luck in the future with David and Robyn's.
Well, and you could see too, so like the footage that was on the property, well, not the property, but not Coyote Pass, but Shira Chateau.
The property.
The property. So Shira Chateau footage when they're chopping down the tree, Cody is still kind of struggling with it. You see that he's putting on a front that he's happy for Christine and David and wishes them the best because those are the lines that Robyn's been feeding him. He was about to start going into a whole thing about how he didn't even hear about it. He had to see the invitation at his sister's house. And then he's telling all this reactionary story about the emotions that came from that. And Robyn just had to grab him and say, aren't we so happy for them though? That's because we are happy for them. That's all we are, because those are her talking points too. And she's sticking to them.
I guess. I think he was all over the place because then he does say it's really none of my business, though. And that's the truth, boo-boo. That's why you didn't find out that she was getting married. I think he's more upset that the kids didn't call him and tell him that he had to find it from seeing an invitation at his sister's house.
And now he's having some self-realization, too. I think I need a lot of attention.
You know what?
Hard.
The kids really gave me a lot of attention and validation. And I'm kind of open to them coming back into my life if they'd like to do that, to give me said attention.
I would welcome that, but I'm not going to give up the people who do give me attention right now, which I thought was interesting because nobody's asking him to divorce Robyn to have a relationship with his adult children.
No, well, maybe it's that some of the kids don't want to have a relationship with her, but he was perfectly fine with them not having relationships with Meri.
Yeah, so why can't you, as Cody, have a relationship, a father and child relationship with your adult children without Robyn being involved? You could still do that. You can call them up and
it's not
communicate.
like she needs to parent them.
So I think that's just, it's interesting to view it through that lens of anything that's outside of his kids not wanting a relationship with Robyn, then that becomes a personal attack on him as well.
He's always putting something in the way to ensure that there's no accountability on his end.
Well, and it puts up the barrier. So then that way they're the reason why we're not having a relationship. It's not me. It's not anything that I'm doing or not doing or providing or not providing.
No, and it's such a passive position of I've got the door open. They just need to walk through it. Now you're putting it on them to have to be the ones who make that move to try to fix your relationship with you, when you're the one who has to take some accountability and address the issues that they have expressed.
Well, and he's made that abundantly clear because that was the same exact stance that he approached his marriage with Meri too, was, hey, if you want to fix this, here's the list of everything that bothers me about you that you need to change in order for us to have a good relationship and be in a good place. So yeah, that's kind of Cody's approach to relationships. Is he's such a joy to be around. He is such a just blessing to be in anyone's life that you have to earn his keep, basically.
I'm just continually taken aback by the fact that he seems to think about life quite a bit, or at least he tells us that he reflects on things a lot. And I'm not sure how he arrives at the places that he does. It doesn't feel like somebody who does a lot of self-reflection.
Reading too many of those books by that guy. Remember you're talking
Jordan
about?
Peterson.
Jordan Peterson.
It's time for the ceremony, and they're really driving home the point that no one is nervous.
Well, I was nervous about the fast-moving river, but then Janelle just told me that it's a slow-moving river, so I don't know what to believe anymore.
I feel lied to.
Deception. It happens to us.
It's not like it worked that well. It didn't get me that excited about the last episode.
No, and yeah, I didn't get that worked up.
Everyone's safe. Everybody's back on the riverbank where they belong. And it's time to walk down the aisle.
Can we talk about these music cues?
Were they different? They had to be different from last time.
I feel like I would have remembered
Same.
Timothée Chalamet as Bob Dylan playing the groomsmen on, but
I think that they mixed the music tracks up this time to give us something different. It was boring last time. I don't remember anything standing out to me about it.
probably glossed over, or if it was...
No,
if it was
I would have
same,
remembered that.
If these were the same tracks, I will feel very silly, but I don't think it was because these just hit different this time going around. At one point, I thought Christine was walking down the aisle to the song and Forgetting Sarah Marshall, Inside of You.
Missed opportunity, TLC.
Where David just went from 6 to midnight.
Yeah, this is where Wooly fans pretty much starts. They're making out.
Established October 2023.
In front of everybody.
It's happening.
Like, it was a very uncomfortable wedding kiss. Not church tongue.
But everything fit perfect, like a glove, as David assures us later on. Because Christine's basically too good to be true. She was just super easy. Everything was very easy.
Well, Christine's easy. We know
easy.
that.
I think that's what he's trying to say.
And David's a wonderful man. Did they write that line? Because Peyton says it twice and then Rex says it.
Must have been the same note card where they were saying, here, if you haven't done business with the Browns yet, here's the questions that you can ask them. How do you feel about them being polygamists? Would that impact you doing business and conducting business with them in the future? David is a wonderful man. It's just going on that same note card. Standard issue now.
I don't really have much to say other than Corbin did a pretty good job.
No frisbees were thrown.
I mean, better than the ones we've seen in the past.
He remembered to have them take their vows, so that was good. It's a very important step, right, Cody?
Truly coming up and giving hugs to David and Christine. That seemed to be a big deal because she's not really a physical touch person. And we didn't get any biting. So we've made a lot of progress on the Truly front.
Leaps and bounds, yes.
I'm glad if there's one kid who's really come around to David that it's her, since she's the one who's going to have to live with them.
It should be her.
I hope she has a good pair of earplugs.
Some white noise machine. Yeah. That would be my wedding gift to Truly.
Everything is happy and joyous and going well, so we need a mood shift.
Thanks for noticing me.
Ominous music starts to play.
Halloween vibes in January here.
And Meri's back and she's ready to come out and play. Or something like that.
I don't know what that means. What does that mean?
They kind of teased it and made it seem like she was ready to start dating, but that's not the context it was in. I think she meant decorating. She's here to have fun on Halloween, a thing that's been taken away from her for so long.
I've been bottling up all of my home decorating tips and haven't been able to unleash those on the world.
She's a knockoff Martha Stewart. There's only one Martha. Maybe that's an energy she can embrace for her dating life.
I hope so.
Making out with somebody on her honeymoon in church.
Some Italian guy.
It wasn't a big deal.
On Easter.
It was an emotional moment.
Yeah, that's not infidelity. It was making out.
If you haven't watched the Martha doc on Netflix, you've missed out on a lot.
It's so good.
But back to Meri.
She's working on floral arrangements for the cemetery that she's decorating out front. And she happens to have the perfect set of flowers lying around here that we can use from the family commitment celebration ceremony from, what was that? Season 8?
I think so. I don't remember at this point.
It's been a while.
I don't want to remember.
Okay, let's put it into moves. Number of moves that she's had. She moved these flowers from Vegas to Flagstaff.
The first rental. She got kicked out of the first rental in day one.
And then she moved to another one.
The one with the
fire?
The mall. No.
No,
that was the one in between.
Different.
The one that had the elevator.
Yes, and where could we have possibly saved money? And then they cut to the water feature that's flowing through 3 stories of the house.
And then she had that third house.
That almost caught on fire.
And then she moved to Parowan, so it's moved 4 times.
Okay. So yeah, she's had these in her possession for all of those different points.
I think I would have thrown them out.
They never would have made it out of Vegas.
At least she's finding a good purpose for them. Although I kind of don't know if she really wanted to take them apart and use them, but Jen and Blair were cheering her on.
This seems to be her entire storyline this season, is taking things from her marriage, dismantling them and repurposing them. So either that or just generally destroying them for her own mental health.
It's getting a bit repetitive.
It is, but they snuck this one in because it seemed like it was at the behest of other people when she was decorating for Halloween. Even though I feel like this was planned out. This was something that she was ready and prepared to do. You just happened to have the 2 huge floral arrangements from the family commitment celebration ceremony just sitting there. She had.
You think she thought this up
I
beforehand?
think she had motive and intention to this. Yes.
Feels good to be herself again, though. She couldn't really decorate when she was living in Flagstaff because nobody came to her house or gave a shit.
Why is that stifling? That nobody was there to tell you not to decorate?
I mean, no, I could see it as being depressing. Why do it if nobody's going to see it? Aside from myself, although worthy up, Meri, you should be enough.
If you want to decorate, then you should decorate. That's it. That's what it comes down to. So if you didn't feel like decorating in Flagstaff, no hate. I'm not going to blame you.
I mean, it was COVID. Did we decorate for a lot during COVID? I don't recall.
Think so. I mean, we put the tree up and stuff.
I remember seeing the same 4 walls for a very long time.
There was a lot of that. Now we just look at different 4 walls. A couple different ones. My other takeaway for this scene was when they were asking Meri if she was aware that Christine was getting married this weekend, which she said, I figured she was getting married soon because she had heard rumblings that David, whom she met at Gwen's tattoo bridal shower, was that the bridal shower?
Yeah, it wasn't the engagement party, I don't think. Maybe I'm wrong.
Something, one of those. But she met David one time, and she has heard that since that meeting, Christine and David have been engaged and are now getting married.
To put that into perspective, I'm pretty sure that had happened in July, and it's now October.
So a couple months. Pretty quick turnaround there.
I was wrong. Gwen got married in July.
Oh. Well, I mean, yeah, so maybe it was...
I just want to make sure no one's screaming.
I think it was around like April. Wasn't it like...
Was it February?
April, February?
I don't know.
Something.
Whatever. It happened not that long ago. We all know how quick this has been moving.
Pretty recent. So what I'm getting at, too, with this is that Meri should probably tell Christine that she's not friends with Robyn anymore. Because I feel like that's why Christine was like, yeah, I think I'm good not having a relationship with Meri.
I don't know. I don't think that I would still be good with Meri coming, seeing how she threw Janelle under the bus to Kody and Robyn. She's still not fully trustworthy in my book.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say, yeah, she's trustworthy. But I'm just saying, like, I think you should probably let people know there's been an update to the relationship status between Meri and Robyn. That might impact a couple other things, perhaps. It's not going to make you lose standing in the family.
That's true. Couldn't hurt at this point. I did feel like her well wishes for Christine felt much more heartfelt to me.
Oh, I thought they felt more forced.
Oh, really?
And passive aggressive.
Oh.
But maybe that's just how
Am I just easily fooled?
Maybe that's just how most people read her delivery of sentimental things. And so that's why she has all these horrible relationships with everybody in the family.
I thought it was a nice sentiment to say that she hopes that she has the love that she didn't have in her marriage with Kody, because she too knows what it was like to be in a loveless marriage with Kody.
Oh, so that was to the producer. That was in like the solo interview stuff, or was that on the porch? The stuff on the porch felt like she was still bitter that she didn't receive an invite.
I'm sure that stung a little bit.
So I think that was...
Leon is going to the wedding.
Some of the stuff that was a little bit tainted from that. Just, there was a little bit of pettiness behind it.
She wouldn't really be our Meri if she didn't have a little pettiness involved.
That's who she is. She needs to embrace that.
I'm very impressed by the lack of McKelty footage. Didn't you feel like there was a lot more of her in the first wedding special?
Who? Who was that?
It's a new thing we're doing. We don't know who that is.
I don't know her. Is that one of David's daughters?
Might as well be. It's finally time for the reception, which is normally the part they all look forward to because the Browns love to dance, but David not so much.
David doesn't like being the center of attention either. So this is strange to have the patriarchal figure not expecting every single set of eyes on him for the entire duration of the wedding reception here.
What a change of pace.
It's very different, very abnormal. It's not at all what we're used to.
Also, he threw his back out, and I find his story very suspicious.
That he was showing his grandkids how to go down a slide, and that's how he hurt his back?
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe were we doing a little warm-up for the wedding night and slipped a disc.
Little rehearsal.
A dry run, if you will. Perhaps. Maybe.
He does stick it out on the dance floor long enough.
What? He did what? What is he sticking out on the dance floor?
He is able to stay out there long enough.
Oh, you're saying like he was a trooper.
He stuck it out. It's not getting better.
You can't say that right after we were saying the other stuff that we were saying.
You know what I mean.
People are going to assume you're talking about something else. What was that song that was playing? These royalty-free songs need to be screened.
Terrible. Did it say something about being Catholic at one point?
Look at all them boys chasing Catholic girls, I believe was the opening line to the song.
Come on, there's enough royalty-free music out there that we didn't have to choose this one.
And there's a budget for this show. Pay somebody to write a fucking song to put in here that you have exclusive rights to. It's been designed specifically for the moment and the vibe that you're going for.
Were you thrilled to see the flash mob?
I don't know how this family thinks that flash mob is the most creative thing that's ever happened.
We've seen at least 4 of them on this show.
That I can think
This
of
is probably number 5.
off the top of my head. I did like that I jotted down flash dance in my notes, which no, that wasn't until later. That was
We're
little
getting
bit
there.
after. Yeah, we're working our way to the flash dance bucket of water to drop on somebody's chest here.
We got some final thoughts from Robyn about how Christine getting married, it really closes a chapter.
For Robyn, not for anybody else. It's all about her.
Isn't that supposed to be like the inverse? It's the beginning of something new.
Well, no, see, that's what I'm saying. It's from Robyn's perspective. So this is the end of the possibility of ever living all out on Coyote Pass altogether. So this is the end of something for Robyn.
Why is that still in a realm of possibility for her?
It shouldn't be.
No.
I think we've made it abundantly clear that that's not happening.
Also, I don't think that she wants it to happen because she doesn't seem to like Christine very much.
No, I think she would still like it to happen because then you still just get to blame everything on Christine. Whatever's going wrong on Coyote Pass or with their house or with the building or whatever's going on, I'm sure she'd be able to blame it on Christine. And that's what she knows. That's what she's comfortable with. So yeah, she wants to keep going with that, but you're not going to be able to do that. Nobody else wants to sign up for that.
They didn't get any reaction from her to the cake.
That's what I was going to say was I think Christine and David had to go with the tasteful, delicate cake approach just so that Robyn wouldn't have anything else to hate on.
A gentle feeding.
Okay.
Is that how Christine described it? Did I make that up?
I don't know. I didn't like it.
No, they're going to save all the smashing for later.
Yes, they have other things to smash.
And we get to see Jared's dance yet again.
You can go back and listen to our episode to hear my initial thoughts about that. They're pretty much the same.
You know what, though? I did have a different perspective this time because I did not believe that Jared summoned Christine to the dance floor to take over for him.
That is a good point of clarification.
But it did appear that that happened. He had a tap out. He was done.
After checking the footage, yes, can confirm Christine's story checks out.
She didn't necessarily have to then do a lap dance. I think there was a lot of creative liberty left to you take over from here. But she did what she felt comfortable with.
The way Aspen described it was she had to get in there too, and get in there she did. She did. I liked Isabel's assessment too, which this was an awesome thing to see. Kind of. The affection stuff. The stuff closer to the cake and the lovey-dovey and the kissing, that we were okay with. This kind of crossed the line. This was a little too far. I could have done without this. I could have lived my whole life without seeing this and what took place and what transpired at the wedding reception here today.
Christine even seemed like she was a little taken aback when she watched the footage because she's trying to blame it on the alcohol. A typical story.
Don't blame it on the alcohol. We know Christine's just got that little bit of freaky in her.
Freaky bitch.
Even on her.
Embrace it.
Even that first wedding photo that she had when she was in the Jean Bonnet Gladwear, and she had hiked that skirt up as far as she could. You could see some ankle there. She was giving us a little show. She's always had that freak in her.
I mean, that's all the good part of the wedding. It leaves off on a nice note about how she feels so complete now. She's never had a feeling like this. It's amazing. She was worried about what the future would hold. All she knew was she had to leave Cody because life was so horrible.
So it's nice to see how this is all playing out and all of Christine's dreams finally come through in the culmination with her wedding with David.
I have to say, I'm pretty impressed that this It felt fun. I enjoyed it.
We got through it.
It was a journey.
Yeah.
We're here.
We made it.
The second time round. And now we can move on to the good shit. Because in the next episode, we are getting real estate agents out to Coyote Pass. We're going to start putting numbers on things. We're going to get lawyers involved. Jen has called an attorney for Meri.
Because Meri wasn't going to call one.
No, she was like, girl, if you're not going to make the first move, I will. I am your employee / assistant / I don't know, friend.
Coach, kind of, a little bit.
Member of Worthy Up.
Sort of. And then we get a brief glimpse into Cody's screwing fantasies, his ex-wife screwing fantasies that something tells me that's not the only one.
They're screwing him over.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he talking about just Meri? Because this seemed, again, like a very Meri heavy edit. Or is it also about Janelle? I guess we'll see how she comes into the fold here. I want them to team up against Cody. That's my dream.
We need it to happen.
Don't forget, it's our podiversary this month, and we are celebrating all month long over on our Patreon. We've got drawings for memberships to the Patreon.
Not to rub it in, sorry. I know this is weird to hear as the tail end of Maddie's podcast ending, but it's a celebration for us. Sorry. Didn't mean to rub it in.
5 years and going strong.
Irony is all over the podcast. I think that's been kind of the theme that we've been going for.
Well, you can visit us over at patreon.com/survivingpod for more about that and to listen to all of our episodes ad-free. Thanks for listening. See you next time.